inspired, motivated, and hopeful for their futures through his charisma, creative teaching skills to keep youth interested, and overall, his true care for his students' success. One of the most important parts of any child's educational success is parental involvement, and that is something that many students at Mount Diablo High School unfortunately have a lack of, in my personal opinion. But Dan filled a gap for many students who needed a role model to inspire them and give them hope for success. Dan went from being my teacher and role model to a lifelong friend. I've continued to keep in contact with him since 2007, my graduation year, and this August, he and his family attended my wedding. I am very grateful and consider myself blessed to have sat in his classes and learned from him. Dan Reynolds can teach at any school and make an impact on any student's education wherever he goes. But why take that away from those students who may very well need it most? Please reconsider this transfer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Emily Good, yes. Hi. Ready? Mm-hmm. My name is Emily Good. I'm a member of the Mount Diablo High School class of 2008, and I'm here on behalf of Mr. Reynolds, who I had as an English teacher for my junior and senior year at Mount. I'm also currently embarking on a teaching career myself, teaching art at Sleepy Hollow Elementary School in Orinda, and not a day goes by that I do not think of how Mr. Reynolds would have done it when I'm teaching. Mr. Reynolds was a huge part of my educational experience, and many others would agree, because he was not just an inspiring stand and deliver type of teacher. He was, but he also made an effort to involve each and every student individually by discovering their unique passions, talents, and interests, and allowing their interests to become a part of their learning experience and a part of his curriculum. For me, it was allowing me to bring my passion for filmmaking into the classroom by providing me with the materials I needed to make my own documentary. For my brother, who also had him, it was allowing him to write and perform songs on his guitar every week in front of his class as part of his assignment. Mr. Reynolds doesn't simply stand and deliver to a class. He finds out what type of outlet his students need the most in order to get the most out of their education, and he creates unique opportunities for them to learn through methods that are the most effective for each individual student. I think this type of attention is extremely beneficial for students of all types, and I'm sure he's doing this at Northgate. But for students at Mount Diablo High School, I think they need it the most. I see Mount Diablo and Mr. Reynolds as a perfect match, and it breaks my heart to see him relocated. I'd like to ask that the school board bring him home, back to Mount, where his talents are the most needed. I hope that you make the right decision, and you will be hearing from us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Good. Rebecca, is it Les Besh? You say it better. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Rebecca Lotspeech. I graduated at Mount Diablo High School with the class of 2009. Like many of my former speakers, I spent 3 years in Mr. Reynolds' classroom, during which time I actually took 5 of his classes. I'm here tonight to briefly explain to you why Mr. Reynolds should be reinstated as a teacher at Mount Diablo and tell you of my experiences as his student. Mr. Reynolds shows more passion than any other teacher I've ever met. This is particularly inspiring when you consider the reputation of Mount Diablo High School, and even more so when you learn that his goal as a teacher was to become a teacher at Mount Diablo High School, where he graduated from. Not only did he have complete control over his classroom at all times, he also was the only teacher I ever knew who was able to get some of my more apathetic classmates, to participate in class assignments. During my senior year and my 3rd year as Mr. Reynolds' student, he encouraged me to run for president of the FAME Academy Student Advisory Board. Through that experience, I discovered that though I may not enjoy being in the spotlight, as you may notice, I do thrive in a leadership role and in organizing all of the details needed to be a successful leader. My senior year was also the year I suffered a few personal tragedies, including the death of my grandmother and the almost divorce of my parents, leading me to lose almost all motivation in school and extracurricular activities. However, because of the support of Mr. Reynolds and a few other teachers, I graduated on time and became a motivated, hardworking person I am proud to be today. I can say with confidence that without Mr. Reynolds and the guidance, patience, and compassion he showed me, I would not be the person I am today. Without Mr. Reynolds at Mount Diablo High School, there are sure to be many more students in much worse situations than I was in who will miss out on the opportunity to have the support, guidance, and assistance Mr. Reynolds has always been willing to give, and which leads people to become the mature adults they were meant to be. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I ask a question? President Hanson?
Yes, please, Mr. Lawrence.
I'm just wondering, I need new glasses. Maybe I'll have them the next meeting. What do your shirts say?
It says, I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence, I went to Mount Diablo High and I had Mr. Reynolds for a teacher, and that has made it all difference.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, without
Slightly
the
altered.
Mr. Reynolds, though.
Thank you.
I spent 17 years teaching high school English. I know that poem. You can't fool me. Felicia Boyer?
Yes.
Okay. Followed by, I'm sorry, Isabella Morales.
Thank you for letting me have some of your guys' time. My name is Felicia Boyer, and I was a student with Mr. Reynolds for 3 years of my high school career. And I'm not going to give you fancy bells and whistles and metaphors. I'm just going to tell you straight up, he was the only teacher in my high school career to legitimately save my life through teaching. If it wasn't for him and his classroom and his teaching style and his compassion, I would not be the person I am today, nor would I be here, standing in front of you asking to reconsider his transfer. He is an asset to Mount Diablo as a father figure, as a teacher, and as a best friend and a role model. If it wasn't for him, a lot of my friends and a lot of the students that graduated in my class wouldn't be where they were today. Most of my class that had him as a teacher are in universities. They have their degrees. They have families, and we're all doing successful. And the last thing I hate to hear is that Mount Diablo is a hellhole of a school. They don't know this man. They don't know what he can do, and they don't know the talents that he has. And I just wish from the bottom of your guys' hearts if you could just reconsider bringing him back home so we can save somebody else's life too. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Boyer. Isabella?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Isabella Morales, and I'm here tonight on behalf of one of my mentors, Mr. Reynolds, and speak on on my experience with him as a teacher. I'm from the class 2011. Mr. Reynolds has helped me in so many ways, from pushing me to do my absolute best in the classroom to always lending an ear whenever I was having trouble inside or outside of school. I was a student of Mr. Reynolds for 3 years. During those 3 years, I learned many things, but most importantly, I learned to be myself. I believe high school is where kids begin the most important transformation into young adults, and is also where these teens learn the most important life lessons for how to be successful in their adult lives and relationships. And I also believe teachers play one of the most important roles in helping students mold themselves into the people they strive to be, teachers like Mr. Reynolds. During my high school experience, I unfortunately struggled through many tragedies that affected my dedication to my education, from losing my lifelong father figure at 15, losing my best friend and sister at 16,